Do you stream on Twitch or Mixer and you're trying to look how to get into the top saturated games and get noticed? I'm going to give you my 5 top tips coming at you right now. Hey all, Wild coming at you from my stream support playlist where I try to bring you the best tips and tricks. And if this is your first time here, consider subscribing and clicking that bell so you know when my videos go live. If you're like me, you love to stream video games, but it's hard to get noticed in the top saturated top 10 games on Twitch and Mixer. A lot of people don't even like to do it, but I'm gonna give you my 5 top tips that'll help you get noticed and even help you get some growth within those games. Let's take a look right now. Number 1, be visual amongst the crowd. If you click on any of the top categories or games, for instance, let's take a look at Hearthstone, you're gonna have to scroll through a lot of different streamers. And if you notice, Hearthstone basically has the same layout. It's just got cards laying against a background. You have to stand out from all of the hundreds of thousands of people that are currently streaming that. And you know what's gonna help you? Having a visual impact. So consider putting a strong overlay that's gonna differentiate you from the crowd. People are willing to scroll through, but their eyes attracted to what's different when there's so many similarities within a row. So try adding a graphical border on your actual stream, so this way you will stand out from all the masses that are there. Now remember, you don't have to have an extreme overlay. You don't have to have something that's going to take up 80% of the screen so that way people look at you when they're going through on the scroll. Perhaps just do something that's going to make you step out just a little bit more than the person that's going to be around your area. Perhaps just do something as simple as a nice border. So that way when the eye is scrolling through on the screen there of the browser, they're going to notice you and they're going to take a look at that channel because you made a visual impact on them, and hence they might actually click into your stream. Also, for an extra note, people love looking at faces. If you have a face cam, consider actually making it a little bit bigger. Since there's so much dead space on certain games, for example, like Hearthstone again, consider increasing the size of your face camera. The reason you want to do this is actually due to science. If you take a look at Psychology Today, they wrote an interesting article on how faces make a strong connection with other people. And if you're comfortable showing your face, which a lot of people aren't, but if you are comfortable showing your face, you should do it. It shows that you make a connection with your audience, and it actually eases people into asking you questions because they see that they're giving a part of you. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'm just an average person. Why should I show myself? Believe it or not, average works because people see that piece of you and they feel that strong connection and ties. Now, if you do consider yourself a pretty person or a more handsome person, yes, it does favor you. In science, it's been shown that the opposite sex of whatever sex you are, people love to look at the opposite sex. Babies, teenagers, adults, we all like to look at more handsome or pretty people. It's just the way that science is. So if you fall within that spectrum, it actually behooves you to actually show a little bit more of your face because people love to stare at that. That's just what the science shows. Number 2, titles matter. Whenever you're thinking about actually starting your stream, really think about your title. It shouldn't just be something quirky. That generally does work for people that have a community or a foundation that's already set in stone and people always come regardless of what it is. But if you're trying to grab people's attention or you're starting out as a streamer, you should actually consider your title to hold elements about what your stream will be about. And I'm guilty of this at times too because I just kind of think of something and hit start streaming. But you should really consider what that stream is going to contain. For a lot of people, when you're playing saturated games, really consider putting something that might separate you out from the rest of the crowd. For instance, a lot of people like to watch people that do a blind run of a game, or it's their first run through in general. Maybe you're playing a certain style. For instance, when Dark Souls first comes out, it's very popular to see people do a no damage run. You consider doing things like that. Or maybe you're gonna do a speed run, or you're gonna play with one particular build or class. There's a lot of ways that'll grab people's attention because they wanna see how you execute that particular style of gameplay. It's actually really captivating and it grabs a lot of attention. So consider your titles and what elements in your game that they're gonna have before you actually hit start streaming. Tip number 3, you've probably noticed one key element amongst all the top saturated games, except for the ones that are here and there every now and then when they're upon new releases, is that all the saturated games are generally multiplayer games that you can play with other people, and you should use this to your advantage. Like we stated before, with the titles, consider putting in your title that you're doing open lobbies or playing with viewers or playing with subs, or you're playing a particular style of multiplayer game that people can come into, for instance, private matches. If you are going to do multiplayer games, it does actually really help you out if you put within the title also if you're playing on console or PC. So this way you get the correct people to come in and join the community and develop a relationship with you within the same type of software that you guys have. It helps out a lot. On a side note too, if you are going to play multiplayer games, considering having hotkeys or shortcut buttons so that way people can grab your gamer tags or IDs or anything like that that they need to send you to get an invitation, or you can grab their messages and invite them into games, because that helps out a lot. So consider playing with other people. Now, make sure you throw down rules about playing with you. For instance, depending on your age range or the people you like to play with, or the style, they may not mesh well with you. So let people know how you like to play a game up front. For instance, when I play games online that I'm streaming, I won't mic up with anyone because I want to give all of my attention to the actual chat and I don't want to alienate anybody. So I let people know that right up front. So that way they know what my standards are with playing with me. And make sure you don't play with always just the same crowd or group of people. Try to get people in on a rotation. And when somebody comes out, try to invite them into the community so they stay and say, hey, I'm gonna play a couple more games with a few of these people. If you're still available in a couple more games or a few moments, I'd love to get you back into the rotation. And generally, they'll stay within the chat, communicate, have fun, and when it's their turn, they'll jump right back in. A great example for this is Rocket League. Consider Rocket League and doing online games or even private matches. You can get a nice cluster of people that you can always have come in and rotate through and make new friends and play with people for either ranking games or just casual games. Tip number 4, try to get into a beta if you can. There's nothing better than getting it on the ground floor. A lot of betas are free. Some of them make you purchase them in like a pre-order pack. Some they make you buy straight out, and some are invite only. But if you can get into the game's beta, it's actually a great way to help you grow because you're going to establish a connection and community before the game has even had a chance to launch. And I've gotten in a few betas, and to take an example, if we take the free beta that was done for Metal Gear Solid Survive, when you start playing a beta game, a lot of people start coming to your channel because they want to ask you questions about what you think about it, how's the gameplay, is it worth buying, would I have fun playing with my friends online? There's a bunch of questions that you only have the information of. And this helps out a lot, and you start building a base of a community, so when that game actually launches, and if it does become a top popular game, you're already at the top of the echelon of people that are educated about the game and know how to play, and people want to play with you. So if you have a chance, try to get into any and every beta that interests you. Tip number 5, when you're gonna do a social blast, make sure you do it correctly. You actually would be surprised when you're gonna do out, like for example, a tweet. You should actually make sure that you're tagging the correct information. For instance, if you're gonna be playing Call of Duty, make sure you use the hashtags of Call of Duty. You should even put in at the developer's name. Or if you know the community manager of certain games like that, don't be afraid to tag them in it as well. One of the best things I ever did is when I was playing Rocket League, I would every now and then tag the developer, and one of their community managers would every now and then come into my stream and feed people towards me and blast me out on his social network. It also happens with a lot of community events of people that are developed in that game. For instance, the speedrunning community is extremely strong, or the Minecraft community is extremely strong. Don't be afraid to reach out because you never know what might be directed in towards you. One of the biggest streams that I ever had was when I got raided by a professional Call of Duty player, and he brought in 8,000 of the people that watched him and then raided me. It was insane. It was all because I tagged him and then also put a few other tags saying, well, hope to play like him tonight, as in like a joke. And what do you know? He hosted me afterward, and it was really fun. So don't be afraid to use your social blasts as a nice way to reach out and funnel traffic towards you. Just don't do it every time. Make sure they're really targeted tweets. And there you go, that's my top 5 tips for how to help you stream saturated games on Twitch and Mixer. Now, you feel free to add all of your own tips and tricks that you want. These are just guidelines to help you get going. When I first started streaming on Twitch myself, I did nothing but saturated games because those were the most fun games for me to play. I was able to find a niche within those bigger games that helped me grow. I went all the way from 0 to 4,000 by just streaming Call of Duty games by playing with actual people and doing small rewards like in Rocket League with chess, Call of Duty, having people do private party games with me and things like that. And it was a great way to grow and meet new people. So you can grow within saturated games. You just got to be a little more clever than the rest. Hey, if you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a nice thumbs up and feel free to share it with your friends. If you have any more tips, make sure to leave a comment below because I would like to know because, hey, they can help me grow as well. My name is Wild. If you guys like to support me, feel free to follow me on all of my social media. Links are below and make sure you give it a nice thumbs up and I will see you guys in the next video next time. Take care. Peace.